Hello, my name is Vinetta Snow. I live in Winnebago, Nebraska. My Ho-Chunk name is Chikere Pinga. It means good housekeeper. My mother is Kelly Snow. My grandpa is Jim Snow, and my grandma is Carol Snow. I graduated from St. Augustine Indian Mission in 2006. When the calendar first came out in 2003, I was put in the calendar as October. And it was kind of a shock to me because I remember on the photo shoot day that I was put in, I kind of introduced myself with, I was born in October. So I don't know if that was the reason I was put in October, but it was really exciting. It was an exciting thing for me. After I graduated from St. Augustine's, I continued on to high school at Bishop Healing Catholic High School in Sioux City, Iowa. In 2009, I was asked by Father Dave to write a little segment about the Native American regalia and also the history of powwows and also the history of our Winnebago powwow. So I had a lot to do with the 2010 calendar at St. Augustine's. Every time I look back at the calendar, it's always sort of like a yearbook because I see all my friends and I see all my cousins, and I'm sure not everyone was in the calendar that should have been, but Father Dondal, he does try to incorporate every student in the school, whether he takes a photo of them doing schoolwork or having one of the teachers yell at you. It's always fun to look at. I graduated from Bishop Healing Catholic High School in 2010, and right now I'm currently going to college at Little Priest Tribal College here in Winnebago. After I graduate in this December of 2012, I plan to go to film school in Seattle, Washington. Seattle has kind of had a big effect on me. The first time I went to Seattle was to visit my uncle, Jules LaRose. Jules LaRose, he's like my best friend. We just understand each other, and he's really sort of a big inspiration to me as to getting off the reservation and having your own journey in life. For me to want to go to Seattle, I would say it's not really a reinvention of myself, but possibly discover new things about me that I don't know. When I first started dancing, I was a jingle dress dancer, but then I discovered the Winnebago applique. I thought the design of the dress and just the intricate work of it is really beautiful. I also like to washboard, so that was a plus. It also seems like it's so simple in a way, but you know, it does take a lot of endurance as to how long you dance, like how long the song is. Right now I'm not dancing because I'm in mourning of one of my grandmas that passed away, Mimi LaRose. She was a big factor in my life. She raised me and plus possibly my whole family. My whole family of cousins and uncles and aunties. So she was a big inspiration in my life. She was such a strong woman. Her first memorial dinner is coming up actually on May 5th. So our family is still trying to heal from that, and I think as a dancer you really do want to heal and not have those bad feelings when you're in the arena, because you want to have such spiritual and cleanliness, I would think, and not just go out and dance and not really care for the other people. You really have to think of how you feel at the time, and I think any dancer, it's hard when you lose someone so special to you. On the subject of Father Dave and Mr. Blackbird, I think they're goofy. It's been a journey getting to know them, and I think when I got into touch with them, after, possibly, after I graduated from high school. I got to kind of reconnect with them, and it's funny because they're such grown-ups, but they're still little kids. I mean, they're around kids all the time, and they have that goofy sense of humor that I can relate to. And it's really nice to see that they haven't changed. Father Don Dahl, he's a remarkable person as to what he's done with the calendar. It's really special for, I think, the Winnebago Reservation, and also it's a blessing for the community, the students, and the parents, and also anyone who's come to contact with St. Augustine's. I think it's a really remarkable thing. I present to you Father Don Dahl, Father Dave Korth, and Mr. Donald Blackbird Jr.
My name is Father Don Dahl. I've been teaching photography at Creighton University for the last, 4 decades. So I've been at Creighton for a very long time. I love it there. It's a wonderful school.
Father Dave Korth. I'm the director of St. Augustine Indian Mission.
Don Blackbird, principal of St. Augustine School.
And I've been doing the calendar for Red Cloud Indian School and also St. Augustine's Indian School for many years. I started a little bit earlier on Red Cloud. I started 18 years ago doing their calendar. And I offered to, when Father Steve Bays was here, I said, Father Steve, would you like a calendar? He says, yes, we'd like to do that. And then, so I've been working with Father Dave, the last 8 years doing these calendars. And what I love about doing these Native American calendars is it shows the students learning their own culture and being proud of who they are as Native Americans. I just think that is quite wonderful. If I, in some small way as a photographer, can help you as a Native American become proud of who you are and of your heritage, I've succeeded. And I think in the past I've noticed the grandparents and the parents are very happy to see their children featured as a month on the calendar. It's almost like a little competition, who's going to make the month, And we do it only, I have an associate, and I usually gather people who are experts in photography. And we choose, not because we know this person or that person, because we don't know them that well. We just choose it basically on their outfit or their regalia, their expression, and the beautiful light that's on their face. And if you noticed, I try to light them so that it's what I call Rembrandt light. The light is hitting one side of the face, and then there's a little triangular patch there on this side. If you notice, I sometimes didn't have them smile, because when they smiled, they got a big crease right there, and I didn't want that crease there because the light was so beautiful on their face when they didn't smile. But sometimes they can smile just real gently, and they don't get a big crease, and then it's beautiful when you get that. Like if you noticed, Virginia, I think she was on the cover last year. The light on her face is just gorgeous. And so that's what I strive for, is put them in this very, very beautiful light, which the most famous painter of all time used this kind of light. His name is Rembrandt. I don't know if you've ever seen a Rembrandt painting, even his self-portraits. Do a Google search for Rembrandt, and you could see this is what I'm trying to imitate, the famous painters, from 500 years ago, although I'm doing it with photographs, trying to make this person look very beautiful. I want them, and before you came, we gathered on the stage, and we said a prayer, Father Dave, myself, the other 2 photographers, that I could make pictures that show in the photograph how precious this person is in the eyes of God. I pray that I can see how precious is this person, And that comes from faith. As Christians, we believe that every child is a child of God. And so that person is as much a child as you or I am. So anyway, that's what I want them. And I think that helps because I respect each one of them, and hopefully that respect shows through that this is a precious person because they are treasured by our God, our common Father.
The thing that I've learned about this is that the reason why we started doing this project was to basically to give the calendar as a thank you to our donors. And what we found is that it's actually helped us with the mission that we have here at St. Augustine's, and that is to help our students be proud of who they are as Native Americans, embrace their culture, embrace their identity as Native American children, to help them realize that the way that God created them is a very beautiful thing. And so that kind of, we stumbled into that, really. That was kind of, it's a wonderful accident, I think, that we stumbled into with this project. Well, let's see. This is my 9th year here at St. Augustine's Indian Mission. The first 2 years I was the associate director and pastor of the 4 parishes, and then I became the director 7 years ago. So I've been involved with it basically all 9 years that I've been here. So there was 1 year that he did the calendar before I got here.
I believe we're on our 10th year of the calendar. I've been working within some capacity, either as a classroom teacher with students in the calendar or as the administrator for the past 4 years, trying to get the logistics organized in order to get the photos taken. And really, Father Dahl does all the work. I just try to make sure everything's in place for him to come and do the work.
I tell people, I said, are you going to do another book on Native American? I said, no. Because I will help any Native American do a book if they want to do a book on their culture. I will help them. In fact, I have one of my former assistants, Kenny Blackbird's a very fine photographer out in Cody, Wyoming. And I tell him, now Kenny, you ought to be doing the book on your tribe. You ought to be photographing your elders and getting their stories and writing their stories. That's your job, you know. Why should I do it coming from the outside? Yes, I've learned how to interview, just like you're doing now. I've learned how to interview, and that's important. But, gosh, do you think they're going to tell me the same things that they're going to tell you as a Native American? No. You can get inside, and they're going to share things with you that are going to be very special and very important for your culture. You should be doing this, Vinetta.
I think right now where I'm able to focus my energy is on improvements for the students and working with the teachers. Father Dave goes out and does a lot of the development stuff, talking to some of our larger donors. He's really gifted at that in sharing the story of what we try to do here. I love being able to work with the kids. I think if my job took me away from being able to do that, I don't think I'd be as happy doing it. Sometimes I'm able to go and visit with donors about our work here and look for their support. One of the things that I've grown to understand as I've done that is many of our donors, when I first thought about them, I thought of them as they were intimidating. But once I've gotten to know more of them, they're just normal people like everybody else, and they're just looking for a way to give back and help in any way they can. And so I love being able to share our story with them and tell them about, you know, just the exciting stuff we do and the love we have for our kids here.
I'm respecting them as who they are. I'm a child of God, and I'm trying to respect them as a person who's in their native dress, and I want them to be so proud of who they are, so that they can always look at that picture, look at that calendar, and say, hey, this is me. I'm one of them. I am one of them, and really rejoice in that. So, but there is a future, and please follow it. I'm glad you're doing this. I have found that the grandmas and grandpas and moms and dads really love to see beautiful pictures of their child in regalia, in their outfits. So I think it helps the parents be proud of their own daughter that they're trying to introduce into the culture. So, and you know, I was going to just say, you know, and I think I teach photography. I've taught it for many, many years, you know. So I know how to make people look good in front of the camera instead of just snap, 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 you know, like most people do with their little point and shoot cameras, you know. Those lighting gear and the camera I'm using, there's no better camera in the world. So I'm using the best equipment, the best lighting stuff, and it's going to look better than anything anybody normally can do, unless you're a trained photographer, like that other fellow here. So I want to make a look at it. People love the Native American calendars. You know, we just won for the 3rd year in a row the best calendar in the United States for a nonprofit. I mean, come on, this is a little school. And here we are in Winnebago, Nebraska, this little town. Come on, it's a little town. I mean, Omaha's a little town. I came from a much bigger city, so I consider Omaha a little town, you know. So city's even smaller, you know. So this little town, here we are in Winnebago, Nebraska, and this little calendar won the best calendar for the 3rd year in a row, not year in a row, 2 years in a row, for 3 years, best calendar in the United States. Now, why is that? First of all, the lighting is beautiful. The children are beautiful. We have the best designer from Mutual of Omaha, who designs it with beautiful typography. The typography is exquisite. He is so good. He knows how to make the right type of types, because the type of typeface you use affects the reader or the viewer. So that's why. So isn't that neat? Out of this little town, this little school, best in America. Yeah, that should make everybody proud, don't you think?
When I was first introduced to the idea of doing a calendar, I was a little bit apprehensive about how it would be received within the community, but I've seen a lot of support from parents for the calendar. The kids get excited about dressing up in the regalia, having their picture taken. Parents are given copies, digital copies of the images so that they can get reproductions of those. But I think the calendar now serves as one of our foremost ambassadors when we're trying to introduce ourselves to somebody. It really captures our desire to help preserve culture and language and pass it on to the kids, and that we put that kind of in the front of what we're trying to do. And I think the calendar really gives a powerful image of that.
Oh gosh, people think it's one of the most beautiful calendars they've ever seen, you know, and it really does help them. It helps our efforts in fundraising, you know, because they see the kids and they just, you know, they're moved, you know, to help support our work here and the mission. So I think it really does. It becomes an instrument to help our efforts in keeping the school open. So yeah, people absolutely love it. And, you know, and I don't know if Father Dahl mentioned the awards that it's received, but it's like this year, the 2012 calendar is the 3rd out of 4 years that it's been chosen as the top nonprofit calendar in the United States. So it's got that going for it, which is nice.
Well, yeah, today is kind of relaxed. I don't think we did that many children. I don't know how many children we did. Sometimes when I've done 50 kids, I'm exhausted. I'm a wet noodle afterwards. I can barely drive home. I'm so tired because I'm trying to pay attention to every little gesture and expression. Where's the light hitting them? What expression? What's going on with their faces? You'd be amazed. They all look the same, sort of, but they're really not, because their expressions change very minutely, and sometimes that little minute change makes the picture. Yes, they do. I always give them one. At the end of the class, I give them a calendar. And they particularly like it this last semester before Christmas. They get a whole calendar. And I have on occasion brought my own students up here, and they go around with me to the classrooms and shoot. I brought this doctor. He's a doctor, the man. You know, he's just had brain surgery. and he's recuperating. And he took my class. He and his wife took my class, I think, over 35 years ago, 30 years ago. And so I invited him to come with me because he's recuperating, and he always has loved photography. So I just asked him, come on along, as he recuperates from brain surgery. He's had 2 brain surgery operations, so he's a good friend. He's a very good doctor. Well, I think it does, I show him how to do this type of lighting and how to see this kind of light. That's what the other photographer, this other guy is really good. He says, I really like the way you light your subjects. And again, I'm just using a simple technique of getting Rembrandt light and waiting for it, or pushing my subjects, or nudging them gently into, just turn this way a little bit. Just like this. If I turn this way, the light just changes my face. If I turn this way, you see there's more light on my face coming from that window. So that's all I'm trying to do sometimes. And then sometimes it looks a little bit better if they turn their head just a little bit, or if they turn their head this way. Because your face kind of forms a line like this. And so this is another line here. And it always looks better if this head, which is just an oval, and if it forms a line here, and it goes a little bit like that, and I'm on this, here's a line coming this way. So I'm very aware of your head being an oval shape, and it's sitting on this line here, which are your shoulders. And then I'm aware where you're putting your arms and what kind of line they're forming, and what kind of lines are happening with either the shawl they're holding, or how their hands are their elbows out. What's the feather doing? Is the feather outright? Is it this way or is it that way? Did you notice how I adjusted the feathers on the kids? So the feather is just perfect. Then that one girl had the heart. You remember that one? So I had the light reflecting from my big light, reflecting back at the camera. Yeah, so I do. So you're watching all of these things, making sure it all comes together in that picture. That question. So, do the students come through as individuals, or are they just a mannequin in a Native American outfit? And we do, and some of the pictures out there, their personalities come through very nicely, and so that's the ideal. We don't want them to be mannequins, like you see in a store window at a department store. We want them to be individuals who treasure who they are as Native Americans. And we'd like a little glint of their personality coming through.
When I see the kids, how excited they get, to make the calendar, and it's, I wish we could include absolutely every one of the kids, really huge, but he does actually try to incorporate every child that gets their photograph taken. So some of the smaller photos and stuff, he tries to incorporate all of them. So, which is really nice that they do, if they do go through the effort of, putting all that regalia on and their parents working with them, then they actually do make the calendar. And I've always stayed out of the selections of who gets on what, month, or who makes the calendar, etc. I've always stayed out of there because I don't want it to become, he likes that family or whatever, how things can get here in the community. So I've always stayed away from that and just let Father Dahl and his associate choose the months.
Austin loves singing. Sometimes he's, singing in the van, or he was singing down in church earlier, just walking through the church, listening to the sound echoing when nobody else was around. So he loves to sing on the drum. He loves to go on the drum trips. He loves going to Marion High School, which is an all-girls school in Omaha, because they're all just like, ooh, he's so cute, and they run up and they pinch his cheeks and want to give him hugs and stuff. So, no, he loves that he's able to learn the songs and that he's able to go on the drum trips and sing them for other people.
So what does he think of the whole calendar?
Austin is excited about the calendar. He loves the calendar. He's been in it, I think, almost every year that he's been going to school here. His regalia that he has is usually red, white, and blue, so he's always in July, so he's been referring to himself as Mr. July. You know, so he's got his whole nickname worked out around the fact that he's always in the calendar in July.
My favorite regalia is probably the men's fancy, you know, with the bustle and the roach, and I like that a lot. I also like the women's traditional, where the blue and they have the shells across. I really think that is so beautiful, with the shells that they've sewn into the dress. Very, very traditional. And then if they have a very nice shawl with it, it looks nice.
It's always been interesting to watch Father Dahl do these photo shoots, okay? Because I kind of have gotten to know the students, you know, and I'm sitting there going, oh, he's not getting them to respond to him, you know? He's not getting their personality to come out. And then I see, that's what I'm thinking to myself while he's doing the shoot, and then I see the work on the computer, and I'm like, wow, he has truly captured them, you know? I mean, it just seems like their personality does come off the page now, you know, when they're in print on the calendar. It's really amazing. And I don't see it happening while I see him at work, you know. But then when I see the finished work, it's like, you know, there's a depth there to his photographs that I don't know, you know, I think it's by the grace of God, you know. He really does have a talent. So.
Father Dahl is a phenomenal artist. His years of experience have really given him a gift to see things that I think are often overlooked. His work with just lighting the subject and getting them to smile and capturing that one moment where they smile is something that he's able to do that I haven't seen many photographers be able to do. He works really well with the kids, tries to get them proud about the regalia and where it came from. He visits with them about it so that they're anxious to show it off. And then just through his experience, I think, more than anything else, is able to just capture that one moment that really sums up that person.
Yes, I was at Red Cloud 3 weeks ago. I did their calendar for 2013 3 weeks ago. We already chose the pictures. I have an assistant, she's very good at choosing pictures. We chose the cover, and then we sequence it. January, February, March, April, May, June, July. Of course, July is going to be red, white, and blue, you know, of course. And October is usually someone in fall colors. And Christmas is someone who's usually in red, you know. So it's that simple. And we try to alternate boy, girl, boy, girl, boy, girl, or twins. And I like to do elders, too. And this one lady, grandma up in Red Cloud, Red Cloud, I said, oh, you brought your grandson here for the last 6 years. Why don't you get in the picture with him, put on your regalia? She said, no, I don't want to die. Because some of the other elders we had put on the calendar had died, you know. So, but they were very proud to have the picture there, and they had a really lovely picture of their grandfather or their grandmother who had died, you know. So she says, no, I don't want to die. Isn't that cute?
Two things. The calendar we originally modeled after Red Cloud Indian School. They had a similar calendar that Father Dahl shot for them. And the following year, we kind of redesigned it, laid it out in a way that was more suited for us, changed the colors. And the way that worked is it really, I think, captured our students better. It really showcased them a little bit more. And I'm I'm very proud of the way it looks, and it's won many awards for the layout, and I think that we'll continue to do that as long as we stay true to honoring the culture and not trying to exploit it. And as far as Miss Vinetta, what can I say about Vinetta? I'm very proud of her and the work she's done. The things she's doing in language and culture, she showed a very early promise in language when she was in junior high. She was one of my excellent Ho-Chunk language learners, and she really began advocating it with the rest of the students and continues to do so to this day.
Look at that haircut.
Check it out, people. All right, so this is Miss October, Vinetta. She was in the calendar almost every year, just cheesy mug in it, and she did an awesome job.
What is this? Is this the first one? This is the first one I did, isn't it? Oh my. 2003 to 2012. No, this should be 2013, so it's a full 10 years. No, I know. It is a full 10 years, isn't it? So, no. I don't like the white background as much as I like this darker background. Although the white does bring out the colors, doesn't it, nicely? Oh my gosh, look at that. I'd forgotten this one. No, I hadn't forgotten it. I just wanted to see. Oh my God. Do you know any of these people in here?
I know,
No.
possibly.
Are these about your age group?
Oh yeah, I'm actually in that one.
You are?
Yeah.
Where are you? Show me you.
I'm October.
You're Miss October, huh? Oh, I'll be darned. Here you go. That's you?
Yeah.
Is that right? Oh my gosh. Aren't you darling? Nice leggings. Do you still dance?
I do.
Do you?
But now I'm in mourning because one of my grandmas passed away
Oh, I'm
last
sorry.
year.
Oh, you look nice there. What grade were you?
I think I was 4th or 5th.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'll be darned. Did you do it the next year?
I think I did.
Yeah.
Yeah.